Have you ever noticed how many different, well, you seem to live inside your own head.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's the super planner you or the part that just wants to put things off.
Yeah, or the one that just wants to curl up with a book.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We all have these different facets, right? Like a whole cast of characters making us who we are.
Absolutely.
Today, we're diving deep into a really interesting way to understand ourselves better. This concept of subpersonalities.
It draws from psychology, helping us see these inner voices and how they interact.
And specifically, we're focusing today on one particular archetypal subpersonality. We're calling her Kelly for this deep dive.
Right.
We're using a really rich, kind of reflective document that explores this type of inner part and tracks her evolution within someone's psyche. It's quite detailed.
Yeah, it is. And our mission really is to pull out some profound insights from Kelly's journey.
Okay.
We'll look closely at her, her evolving sense of self-worth, her quiet strength, and how those things weave together to create a kind of internal harmony.
So the idea is for you, the listener, to maybe get a clearer picture of how gentle presence inside yourself or in how you relate to others can actually be a really powerful force.
Exactly that. Understanding that quiet doesn't mean weak.
Okay, let's unpack this then. What's Kelly like at her core?
Well, the source defines her by this gentle resilience. She's got deep emotional intuition and this strong belief in the quiet power of just caring.
So not necessarily the loudest voice in the room.
Not at all. Not the flashiest. But she's the one who remembers things, who shows up consistently. She kind of quietly holds the heart of the inner world, even when nobody's really looking.
The reflection calls her the root system.
Yes. Which
Yeah.
is such a great image. Invisible from the surface, maybe, but absolutely essential.
Like the foundation stabilizing everything.
Exactly. Stabilizing, nourishing the other parts, connecting the whole inner ecosystem, giving it meaning, really.
Now let's look at the timeline.
Yeah.
How was she described back in, say, 2024?
Right. So in 2024, the reflection notes she often identified as Kenny's sister.
Ah, okay. Defined in relation to someone else.
Precisely. She was seen as this kind, thoughtful, emotionally tuned-in presence. But sometimes she just sort of faded into the background. And she really wrestled with self-doubt, feeling overshadowed, wondering if being, simple or ordinary was actually enough.
And there were songs mentioned?
Yeah, songs like Basically Me and Kenny's Sister apparently captured that feeling, that tension between wanting to be seen but feeling almost invisible.
Okay, but then things shift. The reflection talks about a profound yet gentle evolution by 2025.
Yes, and it's key that she hasn't abandoned her gentle nature. That's not the point.
She's learned to value it more.
Exactly. She's learned to honor it. She recognizes the unique power in being steady, emotionally intelligent, even working behind the scenes.
So it's not like a dramatic personality swap?
No, it's described more as a quiet reclamation. She's stepping into her worth, but crucially without needing all that external validation.
She knows her quiet actions matter.
Yes, and that inner recognition, knowing that weight herself, that's become enough for her.
That really highlights the shift from needing outside approval to finding intrinsic self-worth, doesn't it?
It really does. The insight there is powerful. True strength often isn't about some big reinvention. It's about quietly reclaiming and honoring who you already are.
Recognizing the power within.
It speaks volumes to that idea that even soft voices can echo loudly, in the right spaces.
Yep.
For evolution is really about learning to love being basically me.
Fully embracing her own qualities and influence.
Exactly.
Now, Kelly has this core philosophy mentioned called the twin mirror. What's that about?
Yeah, this is fascinating. It's described as a tender, ongoing act of emotional craftsmanship.
Craftsmanship.
Yeah, like it's something she actively works on. It fuses self-compassion with self-accountability in a really unique way.
How does it work? The twin part.
Well, the core concept is that she treats herself as her own twin, but not like a rival twin or a critical one, more like a mirror witness.
A mirror witness.
Yeah.
Like reflecting back.
Exactly. She checks in with herself, but from a place of loving curiosity, asking herself these really insightful questions.
Like what kind of questions?
Things like, am I being someone I'd feel emotionally safe with right now? Or would I actually want to share a space with me today?
Wow. That reframes things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Personal growth not as chasing perfection.
But as companionship with yourself.
Yeah. And it's not about pushing too hard either. There's this analogy of growing like a garden.
Right. I love that one. It means she doesn't demand flawless efficiency from herself.
I'm nurturing.
Exactly. Nurturing her own development with um, composted experiences, learning from the past, patient tending, acknowledging that things change like seasons.
So the twin mirror reminds her, you don't have to be on all the time.
Right. You don't bloom constantly. You don't force healing. You just create the space for things to emerge naturally. It's really about integrity with softness.
Not hustle culture. Not healing faster.
Definitely not.
The reflection also mentions her reflective tools with soul. What are those?
These are her sort of daily practices, like the roommate test we just mentioned, would I want to live with me today?
And mirror talk journaling.
Yes. And the key is, these aren't just like productivity hacks or self-improvement checklists.
It's deeper than that.
They're described as empathy scaffolding, structured ways to build self-understanding and compassion.
So she can check her alignment, see if she's living by her values.
Without falling into guilt trips or, erasing her own needs in the process, she listens to herself not just to track progress, but to genuinely honor her own company.
But surely a philosophy like this isn't without challenges. The reflection mentions potential risks.
Oh, absolutely. It acknowledges that. Kelly recognizes it too. There's a risk of maybe leaning into over-accommodation sometimes.
Suppressing her own needs to stay likable, even to herself.
Potentially, yeah. Or emotional fatigue from all the self-checking. Maybe even a kind of hypervigilance. Mistaking that deep care for control.
So how does she manage that tension?
That's a really crucial point. The reflection says that despite these tensions, she holds on to this core truth. It's about connection, not compliance.
Connection, not compliance.
Oh, okay.
And her final vow, essentially, is to be soft but not submissive, kind but not codependent, reflective but not self-erasing.
So it's a daily choice.
It is. Day by day, she chooses to be a home for herself, a person she'd trust, someone she'd genuinely want to, share tea with. That constant choice is what keeps her grounded.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. The reflection uses some really rich symbols and analogies to bring Kelly to life. There's one about a restaurant.
Ah, yes, the restaurant analogy. This one's quite insightful. It positions Kelly as the hostess.
The hostess, so the first person you meet.
Exactly. She represents the welcomer, the emotional tone setter, and the guardian of safe entry into your inner world.
Guardian of safe entry, I like that. Yeah, it really captures her role. As the hostess, she's the first face of the inner world. She doesn't just greet people, she reads them.
Reads the room, essentially.
Body language, emotional temperature, unspoken tensions. Her gift is creating that sense of belonging, but without faking it, without bending her own authenticity.
And she sets the tone.
Yes, she's the emotional atmosphere architect, setting the vibe, making the air feel welcoming.
What about for, say, difficult guests or other inner parts that might be skeptical?
Great question. She acts as the relational translator for them. She doesn't confront or criticize. She interprets, tries to build bridges, invites connection.
But she still protects the space.
Always. And her kindness, it's described as the heart of hospitality. It's not a performance. It's like a calling for her. Deeply genuine.
That's a powerful analogy. What other symbols does the reflection use to express Kelly?
Oh, there are quite a few vivid ones. Her music, for instance, there's the Kenny's Sister album mentioned earlier.
Right, reflecting that earlier stage.
Yeah, like a sonic memoir capturing that feeling of being in the shadow. But interestingly, not bitterly, it also showed her bond with Kenny. And later, remastered versions apparently show her growth.
And then there are DJ tracks.
Yes, those represent a kind of soft rebellion, music pulsing with warmth, maybe euphoria, where her shyness and a quiet self-celebration can actually coexist.
Interesting. So gentle doesn't mean never feeling joyful or energetic?
Not at all. It's about integrating all those parts.
What about other things like activities or personas?
Even her preferred dances, like hula telling stories through gesture, like her own body language, and Narita, which is more pure, rhythmic, sacred movement, mirroring her love for ritual.
And the Dungeons and Dragons persona.
A halfling druid. Which fits perfectly, doesn't it? Connected to nature, small but significant, wise, healing with herbs.
Growing trust in ecosystems, like she does internally.
Exactly. It all reinforces those themes. Gentle nurturing, profound influence, often unseen.
It's amazing how consistent the symbolism is, even down to food and drink mentioned.
Yeah, peaches and tomatoes, ripe, soft, nourishing. And then gin and tea, which represents holding contradiction with tenderness, calm and quiet connection.
And her symbolic homeland, West Haven.
A place of misty mornings, community gardens, representing safety but not silence. A place where she can be herself.
There's also this phrase, cruel kindness. What's that? It sounds harsh.
It does, but it's not about being actually cruel. It's about her learning to sharpen her love, to say no sometimes.
Setting boundaries. When kindness starts becoming overgiving or compliance.
Precisely. Learning that sometimes the kindest thing for everyone involved is a gentle no.
And finally, the emotion of shyness itself is highlighted as a symbol.
Yes, and this is so important for Kelly. Shyness isn't framed as a weakness or something to overcome.
How is it framed?
As a flavor of her soul. It means she notices things before she speaks. She feels things deeply before she explains them. She connects through quiet observation.
So a different mode of interaction, not a lack of ability.
Exactly. It reminds us that our most subtle qualities often hold immense power and wisdom if we just choose to honor them.
What's really fascinating here, I think, is how all these different elements, a hostess, a druid, songs, dances, even shyness, they all weave together.
They tell a remarkably cohesive story.
Yeah, about how a subpersonality like Kelly embodies this quiet strength and has this profound, often unseen influence within our inner system.
It really shows how these different parts of our psyche contribute to our wholeness, each playing a vital role.
Okay, let's talk more explicitly about her growth. The reflection details this movement, from background harmony to inner radiance. That sounds like a significant shift.
It is, and it mirrors universal processes of inner development, I think. The shift from 2024 to 2025 for Kelly is quite striking, reflecting common psychological milestones.
So what were the key shifts?
Well, first, she moved from being primarily supportive to becoming truly self-affirmed. In 2024, she often defined herself mainly through her relationship to others, like being Kenny's sister. By 2025, she realized her care wasn't just secondary support. It was essential.
And her softness wasn't a lack of identity.
It was her superpower. Many of us start by defining ourselves through relationships, right? Her journey shows that recognizing our own unique contributions as essential is a huge step towards self-affirmation.
Well's changed.
She also went from gentle doubt to gentle truth. Last year, she was asking, am I enough? Now the question is more like, am I being true to myself?
Trusting her own inner compass more.
Yes. Trusting that tender doesn't mean weak. It's that vital shift from seeking external validation to living with internal integrity.
And this connects to another shift, right? From self-soothing to self-respect.
Absolutely. It's a crucial distinction. She still offers comfort, the tea, the kindness, but now she also sets boundaries.
The cruel kindness we talk about.
Exactly. Saying no without guilt, protecting her time and energy, because she knows deep down she deserves that respect. She's moved beyond just coping or soothing others.
To actively nurturing and honoring herself.
Precisely. Self-nurturing. That's a critical step in real personal growth.
And of course, the identity shift. From Kenny's sister to just Kelly.
Recognizing herself as whole, separate, and valuable in her own right. The reflection quotes her understanding. We are two different stars. I'm not his reflection. I'm my own light.
That perfectly captures that journey of individuation, doesn't it? Embracing your own unique identity.
It really does.
And the final shift mentioned, from hidden roots to quiet bloom.
Yeah. Her growth isn't flashy, it's not loud, but it's deep. She embraces stillness, knowing it isn't stagnation. She accepts her shyness, knowing it isn't inadequacy.
And she sees being gentle as a form of bravery.
A profound form of bravery. It's such a powerful lesson for all of us. I think growth doesn't always have to be noisy or dramatic to be incredibly significant.
So pulling this together, what does Kelly's evolution really mean for us? Maybe observing our own inner worlds.
Well, I think the key takeaway is that Kelly hasn't fundamentally changed who she is at her core. Her gentle nature is still there.
But she stopped apologizing for it.
Exactly. She isn't louder now, but she's clearer. She isn't tougher in a harsh way, but she's truer to herself.
She stopped shrinking?
She's rooting into her own being, rising softly, and recognizing that being Kelly isn't just some role she plays for others, it's a gift to the entire inner system.
Okay, let's focus now on her interpersonal role within that inner system. The reflection calls her the emotional sanctuary. What does that mean in practice?
It means she provides this consistent source of warmth, grounding, and relational integrity inside you. She helps harmonize the whole system, but without trying to overpower anything.
Almost like an internal therapist or a really good friend for your other inner parts.
That's a great way to put it. Her impact is profound in several ways. First, she embodies that heart of hospitality internally.
Brewing tea when your thoughts are racing.
Metaphorically, yes. Slowing you down with her presence, inviting you to just exhale, reminding you, it's okay, you are allowed to be quiet here.
She's also called the mirror of emotional safety.
Right. She has this knack for reflecting how you're truly feeling beneath the surface noise, asking those gentle but deep questions.
Like, how are you really? Or are we being kind to ourselves today?
Exactly. Providing clarity, but without confrontation. It's a very safe reflection.
But she's not all softness, is she? There's the accountability piece.
No, she isn't just passively nice. She's also the gentle accountability partner. She quietly upholds your core values and boundaries.
How does she do that?
She might gently nudge you back towards self-respect, maybe with a question like, would you let someone treat me the way you're treating yourself right now? Using that relational lens.
Invoking that protective instinct towards her, but applying it to the self.
Clever.
Very. It's accountability rooted in love and connection.
And she connects the other parts too. Yes, she's the inner weaver, like the thread that keeps all the other parts emotionally tethered. She sees the human, the valid need in every single part, even the difficult ones.
Making sure everyone feels welcome, included.
If your inner system was like a community, she'd be the one fostering that sense of belonging for everyone.
And finally, the keeper of inner ritual.
Yeah. She maintains the small, steady, emotional practices that ground you, the things you do to feel centered.
So in a crisis, she might not be the strategist.
No, probably not. She's not the fighter. She's the one who helps you feel human again amidst the chaos. Reminds you of your inherent worth just by being present.
So bringing it all together symbolically, Kelly is like a porch light always left on.
That's a lovely image for her, yes.
Or maybe a handwritten note tucked into a lunchbox. Something small but deeply felt.
Or just that quiet inner voice that says, you don't have to prove anything to be loved.
She's the safe harbor, the reminder of gentleness, the emotional compass pointing back to wholeness.
Beautifully put. That's her role.
So, to summarize this deep dive, Kelly, this archetype, she isn't the inner part who shouts the loudest to be heard.
No, definitely not.
She's the one who whispers, maybe, but the whole inner room listens because her presence, her steadiness, just speaks volumes. She spent a long time offering comfort, intuition, care from the background, often without asking for much back.
Right, that was her 2024 self.
But over this past year, as the reflection shows, she stopped shrinking to fit that role. She realized her gentleness isn't a deficit.
Not a gap to be filled, no. It's a gift to be honored.
And her whole philosophy, that twin mirror, it reflects a soul deeply committed to living with truth, not just for others, but crucially for herself, too.
Yes. Kelly is truly like the heartbeat in the background of your system, the emotional hearth. She's the one reminding all the other parts why it's worth coming home to yourself.
Why it's worth being present in your own inner world. And maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to ponder after this deep dive. Not everyone sees her magic. This quiet strength isn't always recognized or valued by the outside world.
That's true. It often isn't.
But you do. You, listening to your own inner world, you can see her. And maybe, just maybe, that's more than enough.